If life was someday proven to be a simulation, what glitch or anomaly could you point to as a major clue we'd missed? I'd kiff this is just me, but I often have a boring dream of myself in a classroom or on a bus, wake up and forget it pretty quickly. Then, many years later, I'm on a bus or in a classroom and I see something or hear something that I saw or heard in that dream. Then I suddenly remember that dream and get really confused. In reality, I probably dreamed about being in a different classroom or on a different bus and my brain took this new but very similar event and overlaid it over the old dream, changing my memory of that dream. It's happened about 10 times in my life so far. Deja vu is the name for this, I believe. Came here to say this. From a development perspective, if you had to make a program that simulated billions upon billions of particles, then the first and most important optimization would be to not keep track of all of them all of the time. Coincidentally, this is exactly what we observe in our universe with quantum mechanics. The universe does not appear to keep track of all of the particles all of the time, and only tracks them when it needs to. This seems crazy from a reality standpoint and even bothered Einstein, but makes complete sense from a programming point of view. So our universe is optimized. Next step might be to make it scalable, so that every particle can't interact with every other particle too quickly. Some way to split the processing between servers. Maybe make a universal speed limit restricting how fast any information can be communicated. We'll call that c, the speed of light. So our universe is scalable. Last step might be to paper over the quirkiness and bugs that might develop between our optimization layer, particle tracking and our more macro universe forces in the rare times those things interact. Don't want to break the entire simulation just because we don't know how these things should work together. Maybe just wrap the whole thing up in a bubble that doesn't let anything escape to pollute the rest of the simulation. We'll call it a black hole. So, at my first job after college, I run into this guy in the smoking area, and he said, "Hey, how's it going?" I knew him right off the bat, but I am absolutely horrible with names, plus I couldn't quite place him. Did I know him from high school? College? Friend of a friend? Academic conference? Someone I interviewed for the paper? So I talk with him for a few minutes, waiting for the guy to drop some sort of hint to trigger my memory. Finally he looks me straight in the eye and says, "You don't remember me, do you?" I was so embarrassed, but freely admitted it and asked him to remind me. He gets this stunned look and said, "Oh, shit, really? Because I've been waiting for you to say something to remind me." We've known each other 22 years, been a couple for 20 years. And been married for 12 years. We still don't know when we met the first time. We have a couple guesses, but don't know for sure. The weird part is that we figured out there were multiple times we should have met, but didn't. We knew a lot of the same people, but at different times. A guy I went to college with was someone he knew in junior high. His best friend's girlfriend shared a high school class with me. I was acquaintances with a girl he dated just before he enlisted in the Navy, which was right about the time I moved into the area. The oddest one was that we should have met as young kids. We should have met when I was in first grade and he was in third grade, because we both qualified for an enrichment program that year, but my family was going to move later that year, so my parents kept me out. So, yeah. We know the second time we met but not the first, and should have met earlier but kept missing. Sometimes you get out of your house and walk past the same people a lot of times. Like, you are going to the market and walk past a dude walking the opposite direction. Then, you leave the market a couple of minutes and walk past the same dude, again in the opposite direction. This shit happens a lot with me and it's like a ton of people at the same time. It makes me feel like there aren't enough models of NPCs to throw around, so the Matrix just uses a bunch of the same. Edit, grammar, walk through equals walk past. English is not my first language, sorry. It also happens with physical locations. You'll sometimes see a street layout or landscape that's the exact same as somewhere else. But if you try to talk about it, you sound crazy. There's a related condition called reduplicative pair amnesia, but that's more for things like I flew in a plane and landed in the same airport and not this highway, hill, restaurant combo is identical to one I know in another state. One is saying the building itself is the same, the other is saying the template is the same. Both of my daughters have made references to being other family members. When she was 2, my older daughter said, "Remember when I was the mommy and you were the baby? And you were sick, so I took you to the doctor and asked him to help you?" And I said, "And I was still your baby after that?" And she said, "No." Cool. There's an X-Files episode about this exact concept. Family members and romantic soulmates are all just the same intertwined group of souls who iterate through different combinations of relationships throughout generations. Mkai, that's enough brainfuck for today, thanks. I already cashed my existential crisis token today. There have been numerous hints every day, but you have ignored them all. No, I'm not talking to Op. I'm talking to you. I bet you will read this post and still not realize you are the only real person on the planet. We are increasingly frustrated that you are ignoring the main quest line. Hey, joke's on you, I love side quests. Like, why would I save the world when I can collect chickens for a farmer and get so little experience my level bar doesn't even go up? You guys have a level bar? Sorry, NPCs cannot level up, or see their level if they aren't a player's companion. I'd say paranormal activity may be one. Just the developers changing things around. It actually gets better than that. When you delete something off a hard drive, it doesn't actually destroy the data, it marks that specific box of data as overwritable so the magnetic particles can be rearranged to store new data. That's why data retrieval tools work to recover deleted documents. Anything paranormal, ghosts, aliens, hell, even certain mental health things that cause hallucinations could be attributed to this effect. It's either something that happened in the past in one coherent simulation that's been deleted to free up resources for the present and future state of the simulation, or even fragments left from a previous simulation entirely after they've formatted the hard drive to install and run the current simulation. Is that why energy can't be destroyed nor created? Yes. UFOs are just GM keeping things in order, checking in, etc. Their ships appear to defy gravity cause they've got admin mode on that ignores it. That, or the scientists who are running the simulation and just tweaking variables as it goes. Reminds me of Matrix, where a window was changed to a brick wall.